And welcome once more to Europa for the Complete Idiot's Guide to Stationeers with me, 54 Bear, the Complete Idiot. So, I've done a little bit on the base automation side. I've added a LED counter here that is basically reading the import slot on the solid generator. So this tells me how much coal I've actually got in there. I added a few chutes as well, which you can kind of see, but you can't make out the contents of out there unless you stand on top of the battery. So if that gets down to zero and the power is getting low, then I know it's time to add a bit more coal. Other stuff that's gone on, you may have noticed last time I put in this active vent, which was manually controlled. It just literally sucks in air, cold air from the outside when the base gets warm. That was getting to be a bit of a nuisance. I went out on an extended mining run. I left this thing turned on. I came back and my base had exploded. Yes, fun and games. So I decided to automate things. With it being such a simple method of cooling, you do have to take additional safeguards because it, as well as bringing cold air in, it's not taking anything out, so the pressure just increases and increases. So it's a two-part process. So, as the title says, Schmidt triggers. I've got the basic bog standard version here using 2 memory chips that you set. This will set the minimum and the maximum pressure you want the base to have. If it gets overpressured, it turns on this filtration unit. There's an oxygen filter in there, and it's just saving all the warm oxygen. I could just as easily have it connected to an active vent and just vent things out, but I figured if there's warm oxygen, I'd like to keep hold of it. Just, for reasons. So that's these 4 chips here, plus the 2 memories that set it. This is the temperature thermostat. You see, Mrs. Bear has already been down here and she's told me I'm not allowed to touch this anymore. I figured this would be a more interesting way of adjusting the temperature. So you can actually set the value you want in Celsius. And out here we have some additional steps that take this value and put it into a trigger. We'll go outside. Do I need a drink? Well, why not? Yeah, let's have a quick guzzle before we step outside. Also adjusted the internal and external pressures to be just a few kilopascals, so the door opens a little bit faster. You don't have to wait for things to get right up to it. So what this is doing is it's reading the temperature. That's actually over here. So the current temperature is 300. And these math units and logic writers, so these chips here, are basically taking the value of the dial, adding to it the value of Kelvin, or 0 degrees Kelvin is minus 273.15. So if you add the 25 that the dial is set to Kelvin, you get a number. And I've given it a range of 3 degrees either side. So it won't just keep it at 25. Whole idea of a Schmidt trigger is you give it a range to operate in to keep it more efficient and make certain the unit's not switching itself on and off all the time. So these math units and logic writers are basically, they exist purely to populate these 2 chips. These 2 chips are functionally the same as these 2 chips for the pressure side. And once you've got those two, then it's just a standard Schmidt trigger type arrangement. Obviously, we're dealing with keeping a value down, unlike the battery example I showed before, where you're looking to keep a value up. So that changes the order in which you put the values. So you're still comparing the temperature to what this says, but this is looking now with the maximum on the left and the minimum on the right, and the compare unit is looking to see whether it's greater. Remember, when you're looking to keep a value up from a minimum or up to a minimum, then you would have the comparing operator would be less, and on the select unit you'd have the minimum on the left and the maximum on the right. But as I said, this is both of these triggers here. They're designed to work, to keep the pressure down and to keep the temperature down, because we know the trend is always to increase them. If the temperature gets too high, it's going to pump in more gas. That's going to increase the pressure. The only thing that's going to decrease the pressure is if there's an explosion. And explosions are kind of fun, but we don't really want them. So yeah, this is my little chute arrangement, nothing fancy. I have not figured out an easy way of counting the input and counting the exports so that you know how much is in the chute. I'm sure it's possible, but to be honest, I'm not going to deal with that. Future episodes will be expanding power, probably up the side of that mountain. Can't remember if I showed this last time, but no. Something else I wanted to show as well. This will look better in the daylight, but if your jetpack is low, walk up to something, press the G key to grab, and you can climb up. The only problem is you can't actually step over. So you get to the top and you're kind of stuck there. And then you just go up and go all the way down unless you grab again. Oh. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I've got that big tower there. That's got the beacon at the top, which you can see for quite a distance. I don't know what the exact number is, but certainly it's in excess of 300 meters. But that becomes academic on Europa anyway, because you've got all these mountains in the way. So very rarely do you get the line of sight, to a distance much greater than that. Anyway, it was just a quickie. Thought you might find it interesting. I have this concoction of trying to get a base or an advanced furnace running on nitrous. Kind of works, but there's some issues with it. I had some nitrogen get introduced into the nitrous oxide tank. I thought I'd filtered it all out, and when I connected a what do you call it, the heat transfer device, I forgot the name of it. Is it in here? Oh, here. Heat exchanger. Yeah, I had a small heat exchanger, and when that was connected, it was putting nitrogen back into the nitrous oxide tank, which is weird. Because I mean, this is volatiles. That's nitrous oxide. Let's see if it does it again. Yep. Don't know where that nitrogen's coming from. Yeah. There might be a scientific or a chemical reason why that should happen, but beats the hell out of me. Anyway, that's it for this one. Hope you found it interesting. Leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you in the next one. 54 Bear out.